What is it? Where does it come from? Okay, so most words, before they are nouns, they're verbs. So we think of fashion as a noun. But actually in history it was a verb, to fashion. And to fashion meant to make or to change. For example, in the past, clothes were fashioned. People made clothes. But fashion also means to change. Now, you probably know about a country called Germany. And you probably know there was a war between Germany and the rest of the world. Right? They taught you something about it in school. Yeah. So, one of the reasons there was a war was that the Germans had a very strong political party called National Socialism. Another word for that was fascism. Now, the word fashion and fascism, fascismus, are the same. They're the same thing. Because if you go further back in time, and do you understand words? You have to go, like, you need a time machine, right? You got to go back thousands of years. Yeah. And thousands of years ago, we had a world system of slavery, masters and slaves. Slaves, otrok, right? Masters and slaves. Another word for slave would be servant, right? Master and servant, or master and slave. Now, if you were a master, it's okay. If you were a slave, you didn't have a lot of freedom. Life was not so good for you. And if you were a master, what the rules said were, if you were a master and you had a slave and you didn't like the slave, you could hit your slave and beat your slave. And it was okay because it was legal. Stupid laws, right? Stupid laws, stupid people. But the laws were you can beat him like this, but not like this. Right? I mean, the laws were really stupid. Yeah. So this is good beating and this is bad beating, right? And so the law said you can beat your servant, your slave, with the branches of a tree. Right. Now, interesting is that if you think about Easter in Slovakia and the traditions, right, you get these canes, these branches, and you chase the girls and you hit the girls, right? Well, those branches, that is the original fasci. Fashion. What is? Well, the original fasci. See, the word fashion and fascismus goes back to the word fasci, which means sticks. Sticks tied together that you can hit somebody with. Now, why did you hit somebody? You hit somebody because you wanted them to change. You wanted them to be different. They were bad and you wanted them to be good. So you hit them. And when the first schools started, this is what they did with the students in the schools. They would hit the students with branches tied together. That's what teachers did. Only 50, 60 years ago, this was normal in schools. The teachers would hit the students to make the students better. Because when you hit people, they become better, which is not true, right? I mean, that's stupid. I mean, like if I start hitting you, you're not going to like me, right? Right? And unless you're a bit strange in the head, right? But if that happens, you're not going to like me. So that's the origin of the word fashion. It means that fashion exists to change people, to change people's behavior. Fashion, fascism, in history, fasci. And if you look carefully into politics, for example, if you look at so there's a country called America, you probably know it, right? And it has a president. At the moment, the president is Donald Trump. Now, it doesn't matter who the president is. When the president stands up and speaks to all of the people in the government, you've probably seen pictures of the president standing and speaking. You probably saw it on the news, on TV. Behind the president, there's usually a flag, and there are usually two columns, two big pillars, right? You know, a lot of old classical buildings, Greek buildings have these big columns. We've got one there, just around the corner there. Actually, there's a big pillar there, right? And if you look at these pillars, what you see on these pillars, now, on these big posts, there are pictures. Pictures of branches of trees. Sometimes branches of trees, sometimes you see arrows. But it's the same thing, same idea, right? Sometimes you see branches of trees, arrows tied together. And these people, they know what they're doing. They understand this. But the average person watching television doesn't understand. This and this is the symbol of fascism. It's fascism. This is saying, we are the masters, and you are the slaves. And you do what we tell you to do. And it's there. Every time you watch the TV and you see the person speaking, look here and look here. And you will see the fasci that is the origin of fascism and the origin of fashion. Because governments always want people to change, to be different, for different reasons. And to change people is difficult. People are slow. I'm slow. I can't even do the Rubik's Cube, right? And so government makes rules. The reason why government makes rules and laws is that, chop, 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 as the Slovaks say. Right. And if you look back at ancient pictures of Greece and Rome and the Roman Empire, you'll see these. You'll see these pictures.